I'm Owen Bigland. This is the Inside Edge video blog. Okay, fall 2023. Pretty good time to become a new real estate investor in Vancouver right now. And I think a lot of people would find that surprising with the interest rates we've got going right now, the 11 interest rate hikes, and of course the NDP and their war on us individual landlords. People would think to themselves, well, gee, it must be and people tell me this all the time, you must not be selling a whole lot of investment units anymore. I guess investors have gone to the sidelines for now. I mean, some have, but in my opinion, as I'm going to explain in this video, it's never been a better time to become an investor if you can becoming a new investor and placing a new tenant at our current interest rates. So, people are at our current rental rates. So for sure, there's headwinds and tailwinds here. The tailwind, of course, is that interest rates have gone from a 1.4% variable 15 months ago to a 6.1%. So for sure, that is a definite headwind here, which I think, though, is probably the worst is over now. I think most of my investors and principal residence buyers now that are locking in or taking out new mortgages or renewing their mortgages are locking in 2-year fixed, perhaps 3-year fixed mortgages, with the hopes that I think when it comes time to renew in 2 or 3 years, hopefully get a bit better rate on it. So that's definitely a tailwind, although as for an investor, of course, all that interest is tax deductible anyways. But the tailwind and what is making it quite attractive is the cap rates have never been better than what they are right now as an investor, because the rental rates, of course, have skyrocketed here the last 3 years. Give you an example. Units that I was selling in 2019 for $700,000, 1 bed, 1 bath, let's say it's an 11-year-old concrete condo with parking, those were getting about $2,150, $2,200 a month, paying $700. I've got units now that we've been buying. I've got one building in the West End. I've got a waiting list on it. I've bought every 1 bedroom in this building for the last 2 years. We've been paying between $550 and $600K for these units, and these will rent for between $24, $25, $25.50 a month. So substantially better cap rate here. I've got other stuff in downtown, maybe pick it up in the low 600s, mid 600s, that again will rent for $25, $26 all day. Some of the stuff at around $675 will rent for close to $3,000 a month. So those rental rates, the current rental rates, have really spiked up, which more than make up in most cases for that added borrowing cost, which again, though, interest is deductible, lock in for a 2-year rate, probably get a better rate in 2 years. So the other pluses here is, at least this summer, normally I'm in pretty heavy bidding wars on a lot of these good quality 1 bedrooms. Lately, I've been buying a lot of these units with no competition at all. We're able to write, a lot of times we still write subject free because I know the strata to get the best price. Still write it subject free below asking price, even though we were expecting to get a few competing offers and we're willing to go over ask. Been able to buy them just under asking price. Or maybe it's me and 1 other offer, whereas earlier this year it would have been me and 6 other offers. So way less competition, and oftentimes we're buying these under ask, not getting into a bidding war. So not a bad time. If you're a new investor, you can buy a unit, place a new tenant in at the current rental rates. The other things, being an investor right now, I've blogged many times about this, how the cavalry is not on the way for downtown Vancouver here. Nothing is getting built moving forward. Anything, the little bit that is going to be luxury condos only at, let's call it an average of $2,000 a square foot and up. Or there are going to be some purposely built rental only buildings, but very little strata and nothing that would even be remotely affordable strata coming from this point on. So when you can buy some of these units at $1,000, $1,100 a square foot, pay $600K for it, put a tenant in at $2,500, I think you're going to get some pretty good appreciation over the next 10, 15 years on these units. And the rental rates, of course, are making up for that borrowing cost that's increased. However, I think those borrowing costs are now going to be a tailwind because they've got pretty much nowhere to go now but down. We just paused on it. Sure, we may get another 1/4 point hike later this winter. Who knows? but I think in 2 years you'll probably get a little better rate than what you're locking in for now. So not a bad time still to be an investor, folks. I think just the capital gain over the long period of time is enough to be buying good quality one beds, because they are not making them anymore and never will. The ship has sailed. Any one bedrooms now coming online are going to be $1 million, $1.1 million, $1.2 million. That's what you're going to be paying for a standard luxury new one bedroom condo here moving forward. I've got stuff now. So this building I talk about, I've got a couple of buildings in the West End that we've been selling for $900, $925 a square foot. Concrete, well-maintained buildings. Sure, they're a little older. Some of the units could use some freshening up, but pretty good time to be an investor. The final thing I wanted to talk about as well is renovated condos as well. I think there's a pretty good value right now in condos that have been recently renovated and upgraded. I don't think that, I've talked about this in the past, have been reflected fully in what it's going to cost today to do that same renovation. You know, renovation costs, materials, appliances, tile, flooring, cabinets have all skyrocketed the last 3 years, even if you can get the supplies you want and not have a waiting list on it. So keep that in mind too. I've had a couple of deals here that I've done recently on relatively new or relatively newer renovations done to these units that were done 2 or 3 years ago, that if you were to do that same renovation today, would cost you substantially more. So another good opportunity there too. Investor buying maybe a unit, a little older unit that's been freshened up. Current rental rates are at all-time highs. And yes, interest rates are well above what they were 2 years ago, but I think we've got a tailwind on those interest rates moving forward. I think the long-term appreciation you're going to get on these condos at $1,000, $1,100, $1,200 a square foot is going to look pretty darn good 10 or 15 years from now. I'm Owen Bigland. As always, thanks for watching. Thanks to all my new subscribers. I'll see you guys next week.